taboos are broken. I'm Tilly Storm, holistic sex and jade egg coach and tantric sex teacher, all-around pleasure and prosperity advocate, and mama of two. If you are looking to get the spark back in your sex life and relationship, if you'd like to revive desire and feel sexy again without hormones, years of therapy, or trying things that don't feel authentic in the bedroom, then download my free Ignite Your Desire e-guide at www.tillystorm.com/e-guide. This episode is brought to you by the Sensually Embodied Woman Collective. If you're ready to remove all your blocks to pleasure, turn on and feeling confident and sexy in your body through my paid programs and offerings, then head to www.tillystorm.com today. What's up, Pod Mamas? Welcome back for our year-end review of best sex coaching moments of 2020. February of 2020, I transitioned from taking one-on-one coaching clients exclusively to starting a group coaching program because I had too many one-on-one clients. This means that I've been able to serve far more clients this year than any other year I've been in business since December of 2017. And this year alone, we have served 26 clients in our Sensually Embodied Woman program, 6 clients in my Pleasure and Prosperity Mastermind, 2 male clients in my Men's Sexual Mastery program, 1 couple in my Tantra for Lovers program, and 6 clients in my Ignite Your Desire one-on-one program for women. That is 42 people's lives changed forever, and I couldn't be more excited for them. Now, I just wanted to share with you some of my favorite moments from 2020 in my personal life and from some of the wins just as being a sex coach and watching you all thrive in 2020 despite all that was going on in the world. So in January, I got a divine download for the Essentially Embodied Woman program, and I finally decided that I was going to launch it for the first time. I wasn't sure if I'd have enough women to make a group, but I went with the inspiration anyway, and there were 5 women in that first group. And then in February, I got super serious about attracting my man. Oh my God. In December 2019, I'd made sacred partnership my word for the year, meaning that it was the number one thing that I wanted to create for myself in 2020. And I spent months meditating on what my next relationship would be like and what I wanted to create for myself around that. And then I ended up attracting my man, Chris, into my life, and we matched on Bumble. I can hardly believe we did because in the past 2 years that I'd been on online dating sites, I had swiped left on any Chris on the dating apps because both of my exes were named Chris in some variation or the other. So I was totally done with Chris's, or so I thought. I had realized that the only reason I'd not given any of them a chance in the past was because of my past. So I got over the past and got totally aligned with love and the present when I went through trauma resolution over relationships earlier in the year. And then I ended up attracting him in June, the first Chris I'd ever swiped right on in 2 whole years. So what might have happened if I was so hung up on the past that I never even gave this guy a chance? Oh my gosh, I don't even want to know. Also in February, my first Sensually Embodied Woman cohort started, and within the first couple of weeks, these women were having massive breakthroughs up-leveling their sex lives with their partners and themselves. They also started enjoying life more and experiencing more joy with their kids. Some of my favorite moments from this cohort were when one of them had an orgasm from self-pleasure for the first time ever. Another was hearing how resistant one of them was to the jade egg practice, but how much the practice helped her clear her trauma. She was like very not much into learning the jade egg practice. That kind of seemed a little woo and out there to her. But after giving it a try, I was like, oh, wow, there's a reason Tilly teaches this. And then another one of my favorite moments from this cohort was seeing one of them soar in her business because she finally got the confidence to charge her worth and launch her own group program. And another one was hearing how one went from orgasmic to multi-orgasmic. Oh, yes. Wow. Hard to believe that so much goodness could happen from the beginning of the virus lockdowns and kids being sent home from school. So amongst all of that happening, this cohort was like, wait, are we going to pause the program? Are we going to like not do this thing? And I'm like, hell no, we're not going to pause. This is when y'all need this the most, right? So they were doubling down on their nervous system release techniques that I teach them and really using those in their daily lives to help make it through the tumultuous time that we went through back in March. So now on to March. Mid-March. It was this shock to all of our nervous systems. It was super challenging for me personally to have our structure taken away. Sports taken away, social activities went almost non-existent. My kids were super into soccer and sports, and it was like no more all of a sudden. And I was not a happy camper. I was struggling. I was in disbelief, not only around, my own personal life, but just what was happening with small businesses and how they were being targeted. And yet, you could totally go to Walmart and Home Depot and Lowe's and nobody ever said anything about that. And how much we somehow distinguished which businesses were considered essential and which ones weren't. A bunch of BS, in my opinion. So everyone should have a right to run their frickin' business and make a living for their family. And it really fired me up into fight mode on many subjects within the pandemic. And what I saw was tyranny happening in the land of the so-called free. I have traveled a lot this year and I've seen some of the most insane restrictions. Like how you can't get in the water at the beach, but you can hang out on the beach, and how you can be in an airplane without social distancing the entire time. But when you deplane, they all of a sudden want you to exit the plane row by row so we can properly social distance. I mean, y'all, there's literally no logic in any of these rules, which just leaves the free thinkers to think this is about way more than keeping people safe. No, it's about control and a new world order that some people are wanting to roll out. And I am not down with it. I know this is a very heated subject for a lot of people, and although it doesn't seem like it has a lot to do with our sexuality, I beg you to question that, because a lot of the censorship going on, and I would say attack on our freedom of free speech, that's happening. Personally, I've had Instagram accounts deactivated. I've had Facebook ads that don't get approved so many times it's uncountable. I have to water down my message so much to get an ad approved that it's not even about sex and relationships anymore. There's just so much censorship happening that it really makes you question more deeply what is actually going on in the world right now. So yes, March brought up a lot for me, and it really changed my friends and who I was able to connect with, which a lot of friends that I previously connected with, I no longer really did because of the polarization and politicalization of so many things this year. So socially, for me, it was a year of recognizing that my beliefs had changed, and so were other people's, and realizing that my tight-knit circle that I have around home was changing drastically and very quickly, which I really struggled with. And that's something that I've heard from others as well, is that their peer group has shifted a lot, or they feel like they've lost a lot of friends this year because of the differing viewpoints. And if that's you, just know you're not the only one. It is something that we've all struggled with, and I think it's something that we need to normalize, that, we have gone through major shifts and changes this past year. And if it has been difficult for you, know that you're not alone. I too have struggled. Okay, now on to April. April brought out my where's all the big dick energy in the world when the world needs it most attitude. Where are the people going to stand up for the freaking tyranny going on in the world? Where are the bar owners and the gym owners who are going to stand up against this freaking insanity going on in this country? And the only one I heard of was that New Jersey guy who refused to shut down his gym. And I was like, finally, yes, we finally have some masculine big dick energy going to stand up and protect our freaking freedom to provide for our families and live a healthy life. And if you don't believe that, if you don't vibe with that, if you think, or if this pisses you off, or if it frustrates you, angers you, or triggers you in some way, good. I'm glad it does, because this is something that we all need to really take stock of and really figure out what's going on in the world, to where people who are promoting health and wellness in a holistic way, why are they being targeted? And what is going to happen if we continue to do that? So think about it. In April, I started a new cohort of sensually embodied women that were from 4 different continents. Oh my goodness. We had women from Australia, America, Germany, and Canada, and I was so proud of them for coming together, for finding similarities and ways to connect during a time that was particularly decisive. This is when all of the social justice stuff was coming in full force, and it was intense. And I also turned 36 that month in April. And this is kind of like April, May-ish time. And I had quite the opposite experience as I'd had the year before for my birthday. I was alone and I didn't do anything for my birthday, but my kids were with me and we would go on lots of walks in the neighborhood and we get out of the house and we really enjoy the weather, which is quite nice that time of the year in Louisiana. And on my walks through the neighborhood, I would do this listening to certain meditations and affirmations to attract my partner and a new home. And wow, did that happen? It did about 2 months later. So it didn't take long. I started journaling. I talked about it in my morning pleasure ritual episode. I started journaling on my partner in April as well, and that really, really shifted things. So in May, I started the Pleasure and Prosperity Mastermind for other coaches wanting to sell out their high-ticket one-on-one and group coaching packages and programs. And the women there had such incredible results right off the bat. One of them launched her group program at $3,000 and made $18,000 off the program. She had 6 women in it. And another woman sold her first high ticket package for $5,555. And in May, I continued to manifest my partner and put myself in that 5 senses reality of having him in my life here in the 3D. And I got to the point where I felt like I wasn't missing anything anymore. I felt fulfilled. I really felt whole for the first time. I'd done so much work on myself. I had moments of feeling whole, but I really got to the point where I felt like nothing was missing in my life, that I had it all. And then on June 3rd, I matched with him on Bumble, and the rest is history. And in June, I was focused on really serving clients and creating massive results and value for them. They were having such breakthroughs around stepping out of people-pleasing tendencies and nervous system fawn responses, which is people-pleasing and overgiving, by the way. And they were recognizing wounded and shadow feminine pieces that were having them perform in the bedroom, keeping them out of their body and in guilt, trying to be the best mom and all things to all people, and feeling like a massive failure for the impossible circumstances that many of us were in as parents. So they did the work and they overcame massive, massive breakthroughs. And in July, my man and I became a little more official and we went to Miami, Florida for his birthday getaway. We went surfing on Miami Beach, which was a great spot to learn. Not great for surfing long term, but if you're learning, it was great. And we had a blissful time there. And immediately after we went there, we came home and packed up my house and I started moving into a place twice the size of my last one. And then my kids came home from the summer. They usually go to their dad's for the summer in a different state. And when they came home, they had a new house that we got to be our pandemic survival place because where we were at before wasn't big enough and there wasn't anything to do. So we got a place that was 3 bedrooms so the kids wouldn't argue and fight anymore being at home for virtual schooling. And we also had a pool, a hot tub, and a gym, which is something I had very extremely specifically been writing in my future journaling exercises since April. So I would constantly write, about how I would feel when we had a 3-bedroom home with a gym, a pool, a fitness center, and all these fun things to do. And that is exactly what I manifested. And then my kids came home and then we started the 3rd round of Essentially Embodied Woman at the very beginning of August. And in August, we had 9 of them going through such massive change and transformation in their lives. And some of my favorite moments from their cohort was when one of them went from not having any desire and having so-so orgasms to being totally multi-orgasmic and having the best sex of her life with her partner of 19 years. If you've listened to the podcast regularly, you've probably heard from her and her partner. And then another went from feeling super stuck on her unavailable twin flame and very not good for her twin flame and healing the parts of her necessary to desire what was right in front of her soulmate and her sacred partner whom she'd had for an 8-year relationship with already. So that was so beautiful to watch her shift from feeling totally enthralled and addicted to something that she was not going to get to something that was already in front of her face just by doing some super deep inner child healing. And then another favorite moment from August Sensually Embodied Woman was seeing a woman totally not interested in sex and resentful toward her husband for a pretty major past transgression truly come to open and honest communication with him around sexuality, which she had avoided and never talked about sex with him for so long. She also had a lot of body image issues and did a lot of deep work to overcome that. So there were so many fantastic moments. Gosh, it's hard to point them all out. But also in August, my kids they began virtual school and didn't go back to in-person until November. So my 5th grader ended up celebrating his 10th birthday in Mexico when we went surfing on the first day of school down in Rosarita, Mexico, which was a super special way to start off the year. And then in September, we enjoyed going to the gym a lot, playing at the pool in the hot tub at our awesome apartment, and the kids were going to a homeschool pod, and we were making it out okay. The changes and the shifts that we made in the living situation really helped to make things better. And then they had a pod of kids that they could go play with and socialize, and we did that through November. And then in October, we launched Sensually Embodied Woman 4 with 8 women. And these women started their journey right before Thanksgiving. And then for Thanksgiving, my man and I went to Sedona and Phoenix, Arizona, and we had the most magical vacation, exploring the Red Rocks and having spiritual, magical moments out on the hiking trails up the Red Rocks. I found this to be one of my favorite spots on earth. I connected with my inner feminine, who is a desert-dwelling wise woman shaman. And I had first discovered this part of me in 2017, and I knew I had to come here to connect with her on some level. Being in the desert makes it really easy to connect with her. So one interesting thing about the Sedona area is that there is a map that you can look up that someone has mapped out the area on a chakra map according to the vortexes there. So Sedona is known for its vortexes, and these are just areas of condensed energy that really correspond and correlate to the chakra map, which is basically a map of the universe. The chakras are all about helping you recognize that the universe already lies inside of your body and helps you to recognize that your body is a sacred map of the universe. And what I found was that this was very true. When I first looked up at the map, I was a little skeptical. I was like, okay, what does a vortex mean? I don't really get the idea or the point of it. But when we went to one of the vortexes that was laid out right over what would have been the root and the sacral chakra area, that's where I connected with my inner feminine. So I was up on a rock meditating, and I felt the energy swirl as I began to enter like a trance-like state. And I was not high at all. I don't get high. I don't do drugs ever at all. And I was just meditating, and I totally felt the energy of the vortex. It started shifting and moving in a counterclockwise direction, which happens to be the feminine direction in the Taoist tradition. And then my inner feminine came and had some beautiful words of wisdom to share with me and encouragement for me. And she gave me some great motivation to help me with determining a better school situation for my children, which is still in the works, but it is getting worked out as we speak. And then when we went to another area of Sedona, we walked up another vortex, and I immediately knew when we entered the vortex. I looked at Chris as we were walking up the mountain. I'm like, whoa, did you feel that? It was like all of a sudden the energy started shifting in a clockwise direction, which happens to be the masculine direction. And this area was over the third eye chakra area of the Sedona. And it was like I had connected with the feminine and the masculine there, and I was at exactly the perfect spots that I needed to be to receive the inspiration and the guidance that I needed in my personal life and in my business. And also, I had my first float tank experience out there, which was completely divine and amazing, by the way. And I had some just super sweet, beautiful moments out, waking up with my man in the beautiful desert. Gosh, it's such a beautiful area. If you haven't been out there yet, highly recommend it. And then December came. And how can we forget one of the November Essentially Embodied Women ladies proclaiming that for Christmas, she wished everyone to enjoy butt plugs. Yes, butt plugs. I absolutely love them. One of my favorite toys ever, the glass ones. It was just so, one of our ladies reported that she also had her first cervical orgasm on Christmas Day. So fuck yes to that. Now it is January and we've just launched the second Pleasure and Prosperity Mastermind, and my kids and my family and we are out in Colombia. Yes, the country, Colombia. We have enjoyed the most amazing experience here. We've been here a week so far, and we will be here another week at least. And we have been to the jungle. We went to the waterfalls. We went down to the Caribbean Sea, and we snorkeled twice, actually. We took a little boat ride out there, and these tiny little secluded beaches, they were just divine. And that was in the Minca area. It's a very eco-touristy area in Colombia. And then we went to the other side of the country in Cartagena, and they have this amazing walled city that's just like super old. And I don't know how, we didn't get the history tour, we didn't do the walking tour or anything, but we definitely went and had dinner there one night, and it was just one of the most beautiful areas, the beautiful cities I've ever been to. And we went out to the Rosario Islands out there for a day trip and had the most amazing, epic beach time. And just a couple days ago, we flew down to Medellin, Colombia, which was actually the capital of the lovely cocaine adventures many, many years ago. But this is where we are right now, and it is one of the most beautiful cities I have ever seen. It is nestled in a little valley in the mountains everywhere. You can see mountains everywhere, and the plants and the flowers. Oh my gosh, they're just so gorgeous. We're actually getting ready to go to the Botanic Gardens so we can see sloths and iguanas. All right, my loves, fuck yes to 2021. My word of the year is freedom. What is yours? I would love to know. I would love to hear your reviews of the podcast. I would love to give some shout outs to any of you who leave a review. And if you would please share the podcast with a hot mama who could benefit from this content. And please don't forget that if you'd like to make 2021 your best year yet, your year of pleasure, then don't forget that the Essentially Embodied Woman March round is now open for early bird bonus enrollment. So if you enroll now, and you will receive my Building Your Foundation bonus course, as well as 6-month extended payment plan option, which I am not offering after February 2nd, 2021. So if you want a longer payment plan option to make your payments less, now is the time to get in on that. And during the Building Your Foundation bonus course, you will get bi-weekly group coaching and live practices with me now through the start of the program in March. And we'll go over pleasure essentials, jade egg basics, making amends with your body, and whatever else I come up with from now until then. But it will be good. So if you would like to apply, head to www.tillystorm.com and then go to the Essentially Embodied Woman page, and you can hit the apply button there. And all of the pricing and information is on the page. So please do not hit that apply button and ask me how much the program is, because you just need to scroll down to the bottom of the page and you will find out. All right, my loves, thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll be back next week with another sweet, sweet episode. Bye now.